So today I'll be reviewing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This used to be one of my least favorite books in the series until I reread it yesterday. I still think that this book is in the lower half of the series because more than it story tells, it's more about making connections to the future books. But my opinion after the reread has definitely changed about this book, and I'm like, wow, how did I miss so many of the connections and important things that this book does in making the series what it is? Today, I will talk about the small things that I love about this book, some of the unclear situations that I encountered in this book, and the characters in this book, which is absolutely awesome. But I have to admit, if this book was not published, then its absence would have definitely been noticed in all the other books. Here are some of the small scenes that I absolutely loved in this book, and there are so many more that I could talk about right now, but these are my top few. Major things first, I absolutely love the car escape scene in which Ron and the two twins help Harry escape from the Dursleys. Uncle Vernon is holding Harry back and screaming at the top of his voice, "He's getting away, he's escaping. I don't want you to go to that wicked school of magic and come to haunt our lives here next summer." Harry is like, "See you next summer." That scene is so memorable. It stuck with me the first time I read the book, and it's absolutely awesome. I also love the way, unlike Molly, Arthur took the situation really calmly when he heard that the boys had flown the car to Harry. "Your sons flew that car to Harry's house and back last night. What have you got to say about that?" "Did you really?" said Mr. Weasley eagerly. "Did it go all right?" I mean, he faltered as sparks flew from Miss Weasley's eyes. That was very wrong, boys, very wrong indeed." So there was this ghost named Nearly Headless Nick who was crying over the fact that his head was not completely chopped off when he died, and that his killer, who was using a blunt axe, was not able to chop his head off before he died. While that sentence might feel lame, it's expressed in the book really well. So Nick could only participate in the headless hunt if his head was completely chopped off, which it wasn't. So if it were to be anybody else other than J.K. Rowling, I highly doubt that that scene could have been pulled off so flawlessly. When you read that chapter in the book, it makes a lot of sense and is actually quite saddening. I also like the scene where when Harry and his friends went to the Death Day party, did not complain about having to miss the Christmas feast, which only came once a year. It's a great deal, and there wasn't anything there to eat except extra rotten food. I also like how constantly Dobby was trying to make Harry not go to Hogwarts or trying to make him leave Hogwarts. Firstly, he blocked Harry's letters from his friends, hoping that he would not want to go to Hogwarts, and then he dropped pudding over one of the guests' head, Mrs. Mason, I believe, in the Dursleys' house, and framed it on Harry, and which earned him a jail time of a couple of weeks with barely any food. And then he made a Bludger go rogue and attacking Harry, almost killing him if he was not that good at the game. Now let's talk about my favorite characters in the book. Firstly, I love the way Dobby comes into the house, introduces himself, and starts talking about why Harry should not go to Hogwarts, and every time he asks why and his tongue slips, he starts banging his head on the wall. Dobby is a true masterpiece. Next, we have probably my most favorite character in the entire series with regard to humor, Gilderoy Lockhart. This character will also probably stay with me forever, even though he lost his memory at the end, because how ridiculously insane, ridiculously shameless and mad he was. So there's this scene where Dumbledore is talking about a potion that can revive the cat, Mrs. Norris, and Lockhart says, "I could whip up a mandrake restorative draught in my sleep." And then Snape says, "Excuse me, but I believe I am the potions master at this school." Honestly, Gilderoy, I'd be surprised even if you could cast a disarming spell. Gilderoy is absolutely dominating, and reading his conversations is absolutely hilarious. Another example, there's this scene where Colin asks Harry for a photograph and an autograph, I believe, and Lockhart sees that and says, Let me just say that handing out signed photos at this stage of your career isn't sensible. Looks a bit big-headed. Harry, to be frank, there may well come a time when, like me, you'll need to keep a stack handy wherever you go. But I don't think you're quite there yet. Well, Lockhart, Harry is like 30 times more famous than you, buddy. I like the way the three of them worked together to brew up a potion that took 30 days, but the information that they gathered was totally not worth the effort. Especially with Hermione turning into a semi-cat was the price that they paid for only understanding that Malfoy wasn't behind these attacks. I was impressed by how Tom Marvolo Riddle turned into I am Lord Voldemort in the chamber, which was, I believe a lot of thought must have gone into that. I also loved the way Dobby was set free by the passing the book with the sock trick played out by Harry. Like I said in the review of the first book, there are often these things that we call uneventful that actually are very important. He felt guilty every time the topic of the chamber and the attacks came up, but anyone would have thought that it was her nervousness and there wasn't much relation between her and the attacks or whatever else was going on. Harry always wondered since his first day at Hogwarts, where did he belong? Gryffindor or Slytherin? Because the Sorting Hat was thinking of putting him in Slytherin until he hoped that he was not put in Slytherin, so he was put in Gryffindor. But that question was answered by the fact that he pulled out Godric Gryffindor's sword from the hat. And Dumbledore also clarified that for him. Only a true Gryffindor could have pulled that out of the hat, Harry, said Dumbledore simply. In the review of the last book, I also mentioned that Dumbledore's character is not completely understood, but in this book, you begin to understand what kind of a guy Dumbles is. I have to admit, the Phoenix's tears and Riddle not realizing that Phoenix Tears heal wounds was an absolutely amazing addition to the scene. Now I'll talk about the things that I don't like about this book, the things that irritate me and the unclear situations that I encounter in this book. Here's one thing that irritated me very much. When the doorway to the platform closed, didn't Harry and Ron find anything else to do? Couldn't they have sent a letter to Hogwarts? Couldn't they have waited for help? But just taking the car and flying to Hogwarts in open Muggle streets with the invisibility charm not working completely, that's the last thing I would have expected them to do. Certainly not the end of the world, and when McGonagall questioned them about it, they didn't seem to have a valid answer, and then McGonagall didn't seem to want to ask them anymore. That's kind of illogical. And then there's Aragog, who was not at all welcoming to Harry and Ron, even though he confirmed that they were Hagrid's friends. Now, I think Aragog's character could have been a bit more different. He could have let them go, if not told them about the basilisk. I also believe that someone must have seen the Bludger gone rogue, right? Even at timeout, there must be a way to prove that the Bludger had gone rogue without having to forfeit the match, right? It made Harry lose his hand to the idiot Lockhart. This foolishness and overconfidence, Lockhart. You deserve the Gilderoy Lockhart Award for outstanding achievements in self-promotion and magical madness. The way Lockhart admits that he stole the credits of the many people who have done great things, he just shrugs it off. So what? It's not like anybody would have bought the book with the face of a witch with chin hair on it. And then, like it doesn't even matter, he says, now that you know my secret, I'll take your memory. Thank you very much. Oh, what a personality, Lockhart. What a personality. How did Ron accept to follow the spider trail into the Forbidden Forest? Like, that was a really courageous move. But I would have liked him complain a bit more before he accepted to follow the spider path, because he is so damn scared of spiders. It's really not that this book is bad or anything, but it's not just as good as any of the other books in the series. That is all I have to say about this book, and if you have any thoughts that you want to tell me, don't forget to comment down below. If this review has helped, don't forget to like and subscribe for more such content. See you next time.